Welcome to our first webinar on lead generation related to the volunteer system. We're so happy that you have the opportunity to join us via this recording. I'll be going through the slides and calling out all of the things that we called out in the webinar. If you do have any questions, you will get an email from Susan Osborne with a lot of questions that have been asked and those answers. And of course, you can email me at Rhonda Stargell with any questions that aren't answered. I hope you enjoy this recording. A couple housekeeping things that we did review with the team related to accessing the question log. Questions will not be available, obviously, during this recording. In terms of an agenda for this webinar, we will quickly recap the new operating model. We'll make sure that everyone has a good sense of what is lead generation. We're going to talk through who does lead generation. Finally, we'll talk through how will we collect the lead information, and then a couple of additional features of the volunteer system. But before we get into that, we just want to give you a quick reminder. Why are we embarking on this new volunteer system? We're doing this because we think that there are 4 key benefits to both girls, volunteers, and staff. We have to make a change in the way we work to make a change in our trajectory. The 4 benefits of the volunteer system are as follows. We believe that the system will improve the customer experience and thereby loyalty. Being a volunteer will be easier and more enjoyable for our volunteers. This system should decrease the volunteers' time and effort required. The digital tools provide volunteers with resources when and how they need them. This system should increase new and retain our current members. And finally, we believe that this system will increase business efficiency. So staff will spend less time on manual and administrative processes and more time on our mission. A quick recap from our meeting on Friday, June the 13th, regarding our new operating model. Remember, this is not just a system implementation, it's a new way of work. In our new operating model, there are 4 phases. The first one is lead generation. The second is conversion, the third is service delivery, and the 4th is renewal. For this webinar, we will focus exclusively on lead generation. Like I said, in addition to this webinar, you'll also receive an email with a link to some frequently asked questions, and we'll answer some of those questions via this webinar, and then any that aren't answered, we hope you'll find on that spreadsheet. So let's dig into lead generation. Lead generation is all about getting more people or leads interested in Girl Scouting, girls and adults who we will work to convert to members in Phase 2, conversion. There are 3 components of lead generation: generating awareness and understanding of Girl Scouting, and then first we have to make sure that more and more people are aware of Girl Scouts. No more, I didn't know Girl Scouts still exist. As people become more aware, we want to make sure that they have a basic understanding about Girl Scouts and what they or their daughters can do if they join. Finally, we want that potential member to take a step to let us know that they are interested, either by giving us their information or reaching out in some way, and that's considered consideration. I've included some examples of awareness and understanding activities as well as some consideration activities. You'll notice a couple on this list that are familiar to you. When we put up a recruitment flyer, when we put up a recruitment poster, when we go do a Girl Talk, those are all things that generate awareness and understanding of Girl Scouting. When someone comes and indicates interest to us, maybe they leave something on our Facebook page, or they call us to get more information, or they attend one of those recruitment events. Those are consideration. As it relates to lead generation, the new website is where members will input their contact information, and I'll show you guys a couple of slides here in a moment. So in our system, who is going to generate the leads? The great news is that anyone can easily generate leads with our new system, but primarily recruitment and the marketing and communications department will generate leads. First, let's talk about the role that marketing will play. Our marketing and communications department, headed by Marcia Dowd, will have responsibility for generating leads. What does this mean? That we should look for expanded marketing activity as it relates to generating leads, activities like ones on this page. And every marketing activity that we do will have a call to action for people to provide us with their contact information. The marketing department will finalize what their plan looks like by the end of July, in time to share with our volunteers during kickoff. there would be campaigns for both adult and girl leads. And you can see some of the sample tactics that we've put on this slide. Things like press releases, which is something that we do today, but also Facebook ads, which would be new for us. Direct mail would be something new in most parts of our council. Those are the types of things that marketing and communications would be responsible for. Broad awareness driving tactics. Again, they would all, though, have a call to action and direct people to our website. Second, recruitment managers will have a key role in generating leads similar to today. We want to continue to generate leads via recruitment flyers, bracelets, PTA newsletters. In addition, leads will also continue to express their interest via live recruitment events. These don't go away. Let me repeat that because this was a question that we had on the question boards from last week. We will still do live recruitment events, and those will be done by the recruitment managers. The difference is we'll try to convert these leads into members at the recruitment events like we do today, so that's no change. The difference is that we're hoping that we can do fewer of these recruitment events in areas where troops can be organized digitally, or recruitment events just don't work. One thing that we want you to know before we move any further is that lead generation takes place in the context of campaigns. And so that's a term that you're going to hear throughout the implementation of Salesforce. Campaigns are everything that we do to recruit girl and adult members. So fall membership, winter troops, add a friend, these are all campaigns. With the introduction of Salesforce, we will continue to create campaigns. We still have to do that work. What Salesforce does, though, is it helps us to better track the campaigns so we can easily understand the effectiveness of some of our efforts. This is a screenshot directly out of Salesforce, and this is an example of a campaign that they've created in the system. And you'll see from this that the campaign has hierarchy. So this is a campaign in northeastern New York. It's during the fall, and it's an elementary rally. What you can imagine is that we will then be able to connect leads to each of these hierarchies and run really robust reports. So how are we going to collect this information? As you heard, we'll have two phases of this rollout. Pre-November, before we get Salesforce, and after November, once Salesforce is in place. After November, it's easy. All the leads will be entered into Salesforce. The adage you'll hear after the system implementation is that if it isn't in Salesforce, it didn't happen. Ideally, the lead, i.e. the girl's parents or the potential volunteer, will enter the information themselves by going to our website. Remember, our staff currently have USB cards to facilitate lead entry. In addition, the new website, which is how the potential lead will access the system, will be compatible with mobile devices, so information can be entered via a smartphone. And the great news is we'll also be able to upload a spreadsheet full of leads once Salesforce is here. So once we get to Salesforce, leads will be entered directly into Salesforce. That the potential lead will go to the website, enter their lead information, and then a record is created in Salesforce. Before we get to Salesforce, we'll have to piece together a system that allows us to track leads. When we move to the conversion webinar next Friday, you'll see that dividing up the collection of leads like this will flow into conversion and who is responsible for converting each lead. But let's look at each lead and how we'll track those before we actually get to Salesforce. First, for leads generated by the marketing campaign, remember these are leads with broad activities like Facebook ads and press releases. These items will direct potential girl and adult members to our website, Girl and Adult Referral Form. Note, we'll be taking a look at our forms to make sure that they're easy to find on our website and that they're uniform. The leads on these forms will continue to be downloaded daily and entered into the Girl Adult Referral spreadsheet. The second type of referral would most likely be generated by recruitment and/or recruitment and community engagement. These are leads that are generated via our presence at different community events that span multiple service units. For example, we might go to a Cincinnati Reds baseball game during a Girl Scout day to gather reams and reams of leads. Ideally, we'll have our laptops on site and the leads can enter their information directly onto our current website via that Girl and Adult Referral Form. However, we'll also develop a standard spreadsheet to collect that lead information. So again, leads generated by recruitment campaigns that span service units. We want to continue to collect that information via sign-in spreadsheets and also Girl and Adult Referral Forms. There'll be leads that are generated by live recruitment events like we mentioned on the previous slide. Those will continue to be collected with individual recruitment manager spreadsheets in this interim period. And then finally, there will be leads identified internally by inside sales, so those are lapsed girls. There will be shared responsibility for lapsed girls between inside sales and community engagement, and those will be different reports out of Personify. So again, August to November, we're going to collect lead information via the Girl Interest Form. This is a snapshot of the Girl Interest Form currently from our website. Here is the Volunteer Interest Form, and these will continue to be downloaded daily into the Girl and Adult Referral Spreadsheet. When we move to Salesforce, there is also a way for potential leads to enter in their information. This, what you're seeing on the screen now, is the customer interface in Salesforce, i.e., what a potential member will see on our website. One key difference is that when the information is input in this case, it creates a record in our membership database, Salesforce. So no more waiting lists stored on individual computers. You'll also note where this arrow is, that this is an opportunity for potential leads to enter in event codes. Event codes will be printed on the campaign materials. When the potential lead enters their information, they can enter this event code. By having this event code, this is what enables us to identify which leads are coming in through which campaign. Again, another screenshot out of the new system from our website. This is what a volunteer would see when they're a potential volunteer, I should say, when they're entering in their lead information. Here's the kicker. Once the potential lead enters their information into the lead form that you just saw in the previous two slides, this creates a record in Salesforce. So this is what you would log on to Salesforce to see as a staff member. This way, the lead can be tracked throughout the entire life of the member, from the lead converting to a member to what questions that member has asked of our customer care team. A couple of additional features, and I've mentioned some of these. First, on event codes. Going hand in hand with campaigns are the event codes. As we mentioned on the interest form, event codes will be a feature that we'll use once we get to Salesforce in November. With these codes, we can identify different marketing pieces and determine which ones are most effective. So starting in November, we will begin printing event codes on our marketing materials. We will have a standard way to construct and record event codes, and the details for this will be developed in October just before we implement them. Reporting. One of the neat things about Salesforce is that it enables us to do some robust reporting, allowing us to determine which lead generation tactics are most effective, again, using that event code as a key identifier. I've pulled a snapshot of a report that the Test Council in Minnesota used. You can see from this report that they're able to determine which one of their sources is most effective at generating both girl and adult leads. So this is the type of reporting that we will be able to do once we move to Salesforce. Another key question that folks had is whether or not we'll be able to upload spreadsheets into Salesforce, and the answer is yes. So once we go live with Salesforce, we will be able to upload spreadsheets of leads directly into Salesforce. As you heard on Friday, with the implementation of Salesforce, Personify will not go away. Members will still use Personify to register for events. When we first go online with Salesforce, 3 years worth of membership data will be uploaded into Salesforce with an initial upload from Personify to Salesforce. Then, once live with Salesforce, the two systems will talk. There will be a nightly upload of Salesforce data into Personify. Finally, another question many of you had related to access of this system is in areas without internet. Just like eBiz, there is a workflow that still allows for members to complete membership information via paper. Like today, paper forms will be available in limited supply for those individuals who need them, and the information will be data entered into Salesforce. Now, a question I know is on your mind is related to goals. How will lead generation factor into my performance goals? Marketing managers will have lead generation goals incorporated starting in August. We'll use the overall number of referrals that come in along with the self-reporting of individuals to assess which leads are associated with which activities. In November, we'll obviously be able to better track these leads. Recruitment managers will also have lead generation goals. We will implement these in our mid-year reviews after November, after we're able to better track leads. By incorporating lead generation goals into our way of work, we can ensure that we're speaking to enough potential members to make our membership goals. These lead generation goals will not replace current girl recruitment numbers. So that was it. That was the entire webinar. What we did do is just recap for folks kind of some of the key things that we want to make sure that you've internalized about lead generation, and I'll do the same thing here. Really just understanding what lead generation is. Again, it's all about generating awareness of Girl Scouts and getting those people to not only become aware of it, but also to consider Girl Scouts as a viable option for them or their daughters. We talked about, again, as a recap, who's going to generate those leads. It's really going to be marketing, communications, and recruitment, primarily responsible for generating leads. And then wanting to just recap very quickly, how will we collect that lead generation information? That's going to vary. Before we get the system, we're going to piece a couple things together using girl and adult referral forms and individual spreadsheets. After Salesforce, all of those leads will go directly into Salesforce via our website. And then the final thing, just to recap, is how the information, once in Salesforce, gets to us. So potential leads will actually input their information either on the girl interest form, or the girl get started form, I should say, or the volunteer get started form. Once that lead enters their information, a record is immediately created in Salesforce as someone that we can track. That is all of the information that we shared with the team as it relates to lead generation. Again, I would encourage you to check out the FAQs that will be distributed on lead generation. And then I'd also encourage you, if there are any additional questions, to just give me a call. Thank you for listening to this webinar.